better to do.
Welcome to Season 1, Episode 5 of Nothing Better to Do podcast. If this is your first time, welcome to our hardcore version of a fireside chat. If you're a loyal listener, high fives and welcome back. My name is Sean. I run Another City Records and I'm the co-host. Next to me, as always, is my dear friend, Rich.
What's up?
Today, we have a super special guest, my friend, Andy Franchier. He was the former singer of Diehard Youth, current singer of Another City Records, artist Ill Communication, godfather of Tehachapi Hardcore, and all-around rad dude. Welcome aboard, Andy.
Yo, thanks for having me. Great podcast, man. You guys are killing it. Stoked to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, we had a nice chat before we started recording about, some pop punk bands having roots in hardcore, and that was a fun chat. We were talking about Set Your Goals. It's a band I really dig. It's outside of my normal wheelhouse, I guess, but they're a fun band.
Yeah, they're always cool live. They put on a good show. The guys all went off. Matt, the shorter singer, he's got a new band called Near Dark that just came out. They're rad. On the Kid Dynamite vibes.
That's cool.
But yeah, if you like, definitely not as poppy as Set Your Goals, but yeah, Set Your Goals did great, man.
So was I right in thinking they were from the Inland Empire then, Andy? Or
they were from like LA, I would say. I think a few of the guys were from up north, and then a few of the guys were from down south, and they all congregated. I want to say, man, I'm probably getting this wrong, but in LA, I do know some of the guys. Like Junior was like an LA dude, and then I think Matt and Jordan, the two singers, were from the Bay. The drummers from the Bay, so kind of a mismatch of like all over California.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So you are from Tehachapi. I pronounced that right?
Yep.
Tehachapi?
Yeah,
all right.
Yep.
When we first met and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce that and I'm never going to get that right, but I feel like with some practice, got it down.
You did good.
It is not what, when people can look at California or California hardcore, probably not one of the first couple names that pops up as hotspots, but the scene itself has some strong ties, right?
Yeah, I mean there was a time probably early 2000s when Tehachapi was a spot people wanted to play. I booked a lot of shows here and in Bakersfield, so kind of between the two, and Bakersfield's about 30 miles away, but all the Tehachapi kids would roll to either one, and there was a time, a good 3 or 4 years, everyone was playing Tehachapi. American Nightmare, Bane, Throwdown, everybody that wanted to come through was on a tour. They would play, and the kids would just come out. It was pretty awesome. It's pretty dead now, but there was a time that Tehachapi / Bakersfield was a hot spot for touring bands, man. They could come on a Wednesday night even, and every kid, there's nothing to do in Tehachapi besides go to shows, all the kids would come out. So, and then the Warriors are from here, and they're like a big band. They toured the world, put out some awesome records, Victory and Eulogy. So they really held it down and pushed it way farther than any band I ever did. But
I think I definitely saw Diehard Youth, but I feel like I saw you guys several times. I lived in DC during the time you were touring, and I feel like you guys played DC at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I think DC or Maryland. Both times we were out. I think the second time we were out was the best. That's when we did a bunch of shows with Striking Distance and Desperate Measures.
That's
for sure. That was when we played Robbie Red Cheek's garage or his basement, and Dave got all bloody. That we talked about that the other day. Awesome show.
If I recall it, you guys played at Joe's Movement Emporium in Maryland, which was literally across the border from DC. You could walk to DC from there. But anyways, I remember you guys covered Vitality by Beyond, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Beyond's like my all-time well, Beyond and Side by Side, but Beyond is one of my all-time favorite. That record, No Longer at Ease, is just awesome. I kind of like, so I was talking to someone the other day about ill communication, and it's like, that's what I want our band to be, kind of like just a little mix of some short and fast songs, some melodies, some heaviness. So
it's a good goal to have.
That's my goal for the band. The other guys got other goals, but that's my thoughts on it. I also want to sound like Jules, but I don't think it's going to happen.
So you did a lot of touring with Diehard Youth. So what years was that band active?
I'm gonna say like late, early '99. We kind of started it, and I was in the Air Force, and me and the guys got together, and then literally like played a show under kind of a jokey name. New Thugs on the Block was the jokey name, and I got sent to Kuwait for about 6 months, and so the guys kind of like, okay, when you get back, we'll do this. So when I got back from Kuwait, we started kind of writing and playing, and it was all of our kind of first bands ever. So it was not very good at the beginning. So, but it was fun.
So, I mean, Tehachapi, before you were putting on shows and things, was it hard to find other people to play hardcore music in your area?
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, like when I was in high school, there's probably like I remember me and my buddies. I mean, we all skated and listened to punk. We didn't know what hardcore was, but I guess we knew Black Flag and Dead Kennedys and stuff just from skating and skate videos. And looking back, we were definitely exposed to like hardcore bands. Like I remember seeing a dude with the Bad Brains tape. I remember that tape. I remember the Suicidal Tendencies tape with the dudes hanging upside down. Like I remember kids having that. We didn't really know. There's no record store here, so like they're older than us, so they were going into other towns and buying these tapes, and we'd be skateboarding at the park and listening. So, but there was like one band, and I think they were more like a grunge band, like they wanted to be like Nirvana or something like that. And we went and watched them play one time in Bakersfield, and that was about all the live band and stuff, their shows that we had when we were in high school. And it wasn't until I graduated, a couple of us graduated, and then I went to boot camp, and I came back, and my buddies that I grew up with and that we did everything together, they had friends in Ojai, California, and one of their buddies was from Boston. He just moved out, and he was friends with like 10 Yard Fight and a bunch of those dudes, and he kind of introduced everybody to hardcore. So I came back, and all my friends were like, hey, we're straight edge now, and we like this kind of music. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, so that's really when even getting into hardcore started. So, and no one even thought about doing a band until probably 2 or 3 years later. When I came back, I moved back to a base near Tehachapi called Edwards Air Force Base. And I was still in the military working out of there. And that's when me and my buddy Ryan decided to do a band called Diehard Youth. And so we made like fake band shirts and took pictures and stuff. And we were going to start a band. And that's when I ended up meeting some guys, and we kind of started this other thing. We were calling it New Thugs on the Block. We played a house show, did a bunch of covers. And then that's when I got sent to Kuwait. And when I came back, my buddy Ryan was getting married and got hired by a fire department and was like, hey, I can't do that band thing. Like, you guys should do it. So that's when we adopted the name Diehard Youth and went from there. So that was basically, I would say Diehard Youth was probably the first. Diehard Youth is definitely the first hardcore band from Tehachapi. And by that time there was a couple like pop punk bands, like Blink 182 kind of bands, like whiny, like I don't know, not really my thing. But some of those dudes were my friends, so like we'd do house shows and play with them. But that was the first hardcore band would be Diehard Youth.
My introduction to Diehard Youth was my friend Eric Z put you guys on his skate Can't Prevent This Tragedy. Was that like, is that a awesome demo track or?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. What was it? I don't want to grow up because if I did, I couldn't be a hardcore kid.
Oh, so cringy, man. So
no, I don't. I liked that. I thought that was cool. Yeah.
I mean, like the thing with Diehard Youth, man, it was all our first bands, and we were all relatively new to hardcore. I've been going to shows for a good 5 or 6 years by then. when I lived in Sacramento, that area, I went to shows basically by myself a bunch. I'd go to Santa Cruz, San Francisco, Sacramento a bunch, and just go to shows by myself. So by the time I came back, and I moved back to Tehachapi, I kind of been going to shows a bunch, and that's kind of found these kids that wanted to do bands and were kind of into it. So, yeah, we did this band, and all the first stuff was real naive and not very well done. But like I said, it was fun. Still, I look back kind of fondness, but it's definitely cringy to listen to.
I think there's a charm to that though too, like kind of, finding your way in terms of what kind of art you want to create and all of that,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think everybody that's been in hardcore long enough has some sort of cringy moment. And it's better to have started off at a young age, and you can be like, I was 18 or 19 or whatever, rather than you get into it at 27 and you're like, I was just 27.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I was 19 probably when we started that band, and the drummer was like 14. And the crazy thing is, like, I used to, my dad's a high school soccer coach here, and I would help him run soccer camps over the summer for little kids, and I'm like, that's how I first met Eric, the drummer. Was like, I taught him when he was a little, like, 11-year-old kid playing soccer, and then it's like a couple years later he's playing drums in a band with me and taking him to the East Coast when he's 15, flying out there, and his parents trusted me, I guess. So, and he's a good drummer. But.
Yeah. So, what time gap was in before Diehard Youth ended and you started Ill Communication?
I was trying to think of the year, because you asked me how long the Diehard Youth span, and I kind of dropped the ball, but I think Diehard Youth played about 5 years, so 2003-ish, we broke up, and we actually did a band called With or Without You right away, and we never went to the East Coast. It was kind of right at that time. My buddy Rick, that played guitar, he was getting hired as a teacher. I got hired by the fire department here, the job that I have now, and so we were never really able to tour, but we kind of started that band like right away. Kind of just got tired of Diehard Youth was definitely like a posy band, I guess, and that's kind of maybe a term no one uses anymore, but definitely, like, when I wrote lyrics, I wanted to be posy. I mean, that's kind of the kind of guy I am. Like, I have a good outlook on stuff, and I just kind of got tired of everyone expecting that out of me or us, and so we, hey, this, and by this time, Dave Priest, the guy who plays guitar, he wrote all this stuff from Diehard that I would say is good. He wrote all those songs off the LP and stuff, and the 7-inch that I really do like, and think some of that stands up today. He was getting good at guitar. Rick was good at guitar. We had a drummer and a bass player that all knew how to play their instruments. And it's kind of like, hey man, let's do something new, and kind of like not toughen it up, but kind of like not be quite as posy. And so we did With or Without You for about 3 or 4 years. We never really broke up, so I guess we're still a band. But a couple of the guys moved out of town, and we stopped playing, and I was real focused on my career, trying to promote to the spot I wanted to be. And I've been friends with Joe and Roger for the last 15, 20 years, and we've talked about doing bands forever. Joe's from Tehachapi. He used to do some pop punk bands, and then he was in the Warriors. And Roger Camaro's been in every Oxnard band since 2000, probably. In Control, the Warriors, Retaliate. No Motive is his big one. He's been in that forever. Just super talented dude, and we're just been friends. And we've always talked about doing the band. And so finally, probably, 2018, I think it was. My years are messed up. But so it was a good, probably 6 years gap of not playing shows. Roger just one day finally was like, hey man, I wrote a demo. Here you go. Write some lyrics. And that's how it kind of came about. I think he got tired of talking about it and just did it.
That rules.
Yes. Those dudes are super awesome. I love them. Joe has a big studio at his house out here. And it's a Bright Mountain studio. The Warriors recorded there. A bunch of bands record there. Actually, like a bunch of crazy bands go there. His house is on top of a mountain. So he's got a nice view. So, like, dudes from Bayside come out there all the time, record. Vinny from the Movie Life goes out there. Those dudes always go out there and they'll demo their records and stuff. for pre-production. So there's always cool dudes hanging out there, and Roger's always out there recording them. That's kind of how it came together. Just dudes hanging out, and finally stopped talking about it and did it.
So starting a band when you're a teenager, early 20s, versus now that you're an adult, you have kids in high school and you got a career, motivationally, what's the difference, and inspirationally, what's the difference?
Motivationally, just wanted to really be creative with my friends. When we started Ill Communication, I was like, hey, let's do these couple shows. And our friends, Danny and Donnie Phillips, both from the Warriors, these two twin brothers that started that band, came out and learned the songs. We played a couple shows right away and had the demo, and it was super fun. I was like, okay, cool. Let's, whatever that, we didn't know if that was going to be the end of it or not. And so we just wanted to do something, at least the five of us wanted to do something we've been talking about for so many years, and we finally did it, and it's kind of like, oh, that was fun, maybe we should do some more. So originally, I think the motivation was just to do something we've talked about forever. And then after that, it was fun. The Warriors started recording their record, and that took up Joe and Roger's time. So Ill Communication was on the back burner for sure for a long time. But then once that record got done, our buddy Matt, who's in the band now, and Joe and Roger, they all hang out and make music together, and they kind of I don't know if it evolved from another project, but they just started writing new songs. And so the inspiration now is just making music with our friends, and it's awesome just being creative, especially with people that we're all older and kind of like-minded. We're not gonna, no one's in a rush to do anything, well, especially right now with COVID, but
yeah,
we're all just friends making music together, and everything's real organic, and we're not having to force anything. And for me, it's cool because normally when I did the other bands I've done, I was kind of the boss and having to wrangle people and push people and kind of like get on people's cases. And with this, it's everybody's just doing things, and it's like no stress. Everybody's pumped on everybody, and it just flows. And so it makes it easy to keep doing it.
That is definitely an upside to being an adult and making music with people, because I know that feeling of being the person who gets stressed about shit. Once you get to a certain age, it doesn't, I guess, unless you're making a living off your band, it doesn't really matter, so are you guys looking forward to being, I mean, it looks like things might be to where we can actually have shows again by the summer or fall of this year. Are you guys excited to play out? Or
yeah, I think everyone wants to play. We had a couple offers right before the COVID hit, like some local stuff with some bands, and
nice.
Yeah, everyone was pumped to play. We played I think we played in Ventura like a month before COVID hit. Our buddies from this band Out of Trust in Oxnard had a birthday party, and we played, and it was super fun. And yeah, all the guys want to play, and I'm not sure we're not going to do anything crazy, but yeah, everyone's looking forward to getting together. Some of us haven't seen each other, and we haven't been in the same room together in over a year now. So everything's been contact and text messages or Zoom calls or FaceTime. So yeah,
it can be rough.
It'd be nice just to go to shows and see everyone else play too. I mean, that's something that I'm looking forward to as well.
It's funny you said that you had to be the boss on people, people earlier in the band careers, your other bands. I've known you. I mean, the time I've known you, you've been nothing but like the most chill, laid back dude. I can't picture you being like having to be the take charge boss guy.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, looking back when I was 22 or whatever, by the time, halfway through Diehard Youth, and, the dudes in the band, some of those guys started the band when they're 14 or 17. And I was definitely a couple years older. So it's kind of like, I mean, they had other priorities in life. They wanted to go to prom and stuff. And I'm like, that's dumb, dude. You don't want to go to prom. You're going to, let's go play a show. So, but Yeah, I think
Can you mosh at prom, brah?
yeah, no way, you're not stage dive at all. You could, that'd be awesome, but um, yeah, so I think that was just the and none of those guys wanted to find shows and ask people to play shows and because they were shy kids. And by the end, those guys all went on to other bands and did things. So, but it definitely kind of had to whip them into shape. Like, hey man, we're doing practice. You got to be here. Like, just like coach dad type stuff, I guess.
It's funny. We know, I mean, we're both tenured gentlemen in the hardcore community. I guess all three of us. But it's since I've met you, Andy, when I talk about the putting out the ill communication record, so many people be like, oh yeah, I know Andy, or I met Andy, and and it's hilarious. Is like I was messaging the singer of Power Alone, and she's like, "Oh, I was just talking to Andy the other day."
Oh yeah, Eva, she's awesome.
So it's hilarious. It's like there's some people that be in the scene for a long time and lifetime wallflowers, but it seems like you've really cultivated a lot of friends along the way and just really been able to maintain those, which it's in the scene, it's sometimes it's hard to do, is maintain these longtime friendships.
Yeah, I think look at especially like Eva. I don't know how old Eva was when we met, but her and some of her friends came to Diehard U shows in Jerry's Pizza, and I think she's from Porterville area. I could be saying that wrong, but her brother would come to shows, and they had a couple other friends. And they ended up like bringing their vegan pamphlets and put them on our table and stuff. Just became friends, and definitely haven't been in touch with her over the last legit 20 years that much, but like in the last probably 4 or 5 years, just through social media, we've been in touch. And I guess I'm a sentimental dude, but like when I meet someone in hardcore, like, or whatever, and I consider them a friend, I kind of stick with that, like, through thick and thin. And so I'm always willing I'll put myself on the line and reach out to people I haven't talked to in a long time, like, especially once, social media became a thing and I kind of figured out how to use it. I've reached out to tons of people, the guys in the First Step, Champion dudes, Dave Bird, like all these people that are, people that I still think of fondly. So it's just easy to reach out and talk to them. And if I'm wasting their time, they'll probably blow me off, and okay, man, then I'll just move on to the next person and won't go back to them. But most people are pretty cool, and they shared a lot of good times with a lot of people. So, and I think that kind of resonates with people, and when they think back, like, oh yeah, that was cool that we did that together and stuff. And that's kind of what hardcore is about, I think.
Yeah,
to me it is.
That's one of the definite gifts that you get from being part of a subculture like hardcore punk, is definitely those, like, I'm speaking as someone who's closer to 50 than I am to 40 now, but like, all the memories you have, some are good, some of them are horrible, but there's still, you end up with way more stories than if you're just, I don't know, some dude who played football in high school and then, just get a job selling insurance or whatever.
Yeah, it's funny. You'll just talk to, random people at work, or friends that outside of hardcore, and just telling stories and stuff. And they're like, man, you lived a crazy life. I'm like, no, I have a pretty, as far as hardcore goes, I have like a pretty regular, normal life.
Yeah.
There's some dudes out there that have had a lot of crazy things happen in this scene,
Yeah. And the thing for me is, like, all these stories, some of them are definitely crazy, but the wildest shit is that I was stone sober for all of it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like you tell people, be like, oh yeah, like, I don't know, like I've known, good, bad, or otherwise, like I've known Rick to life for a long time, and
yeah, that's a story.
And you're like, that dude, and you're like, and you show people some of the people, and you're like, yeah, that's, now I have a professional job, and and I'm surrounded by people that are well educated, and they're just like, I mean, that's what you did for most of your life. Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, I get dudes at my work all the time that they'll hear I'm in a band or something like that, and they'll look at it up on, on Spotify or a random Dire Youth YouTube video or these podcast interviews, and what, you're in a band? Like, what do you mean? Like you yell and you jump around, and yeah, and it's just like, yep. Because at work I don't talk about it too much, other than to a couple of buddies that like I work with some guys I grew up with, some of my best friends. So whatever we talk about and chat about it, because there's some of the guys that got me into hardcore, but for the most part, I don't really talk about it too much. And so when dudes find out about it, they're like, well, man, you're like just this chill dude. Like, even on like emergencies and stuff, I'm just like laid back. I don't get all spun up. And I think when someone sees a video of me jumping around being an idiot, they they kind of have to do a double take.
That's always fun though. Like, it's just giving them a glimpse into, to them is something wild, but to somebody that's been around for a long time, it's like, well, that's just normal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the latest demo for ill communication is death threats in the hieroglyphics. And, when I first reached out to you, I heard it. I was really blown away. I liked it a lot. But I think one of the coolest things was just the nods to the homages on the album artwork to past bands. I thought that was really rad. A lot of times, bands will thank each other in the liner notes or things, or give shout outs on stages, but giving the bands before you props on your artwork I thought that was really cool. And the way you did it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. I mean, part of doing this band was, really, just to, for one, do something with my friends, and then to reconnect and with old friends who I haven't seen in a while. And, really just, yeah, on the demo, I wanted like probably 90% of the lyrics in the demo are lyrics or song titles or band record titles of other bands that I just wanted to, I don't know, kind of like BC Boys style, just kind of rip everybody off and throw it in there. But also as a shout out, because like all these bands, I wouldn't be doing this band or have these friends if it wasn't for, bands like Kill Your Idols, who come and played in my parents' garage, 20 years ago, and with Movie Life, and I'm still friends with those guys, like to this day. And it's awesome, so we wanted to, and a bunch of the kids in the Oxnard hardcore scene. So there's a bunch of Oxnard stuff on the hieroglyphics one. Shout outs to Oxnard people. And so I just wanted to really, pay homage to the people that make this possible and have kept it going. Even when I wasn't doing bands for years and years, all these other dudes were still doing bands and putting in work when I was on the sidelines, just hanging out, kind of watching from afar. So that's kind of what that was all about. I think it's cool. So I'm like, oh, I think it's cool. So hopefully someone else does.
Yeah, I was maybe a month or so ago, I was talking with Chris Bridge 9 and was telling him about the new label and that the Ill Communication record was up for pre-order, which it is at anothercityrecords.com. Go check it out. Get it.
That's a print.
Dude, it's awesome. I can't wait till I pick up the rest of the records to send you a bunch. You'll flip. They're pretty awesome.
Yeah, but great, man, thank you. Appreciate that. That's all you, man. That's awesome.
I was telling about it, and I was like, I showed him, you can see some Bridge 9 stuff in some of the artwork, and he got a kick out of that.
Yeah. Hopefully that's okay. I don't want to get sued.
I don't think anybody.
No. You can have my $10. Here you
go. So I want to take a quick break here. We actually got a listener audio message, which was cool. So we got a message. I'm going to play it here, and we'll go from there.
All right.
Hey, Rich and Sean, it's Will. I'm enjoying the podcast so far. Knowing that all three of us are older and that we all occupy varying points on the scale between Uncle Rico and delusional nostalgia, and the, like Steve Buscemi with skateboard, hello fellow kids meme. I'm curious to know what your favorite releases were from last year, since the first episode came out in late January, I believe, and there wasn't a year in review. Personally think 2020 was an insane year for music. I have a tall list, but let us know what was hitting the hardest for you. Could be any genre, and maybe what did you feel strongly enough about to buy. Also, don't feel obligated to play this. My feelings will not be hurt. Keep up the good work with the show. I'll keep listening. Take care.
All right, so I was actually kind of excited about that. I buy a lot of records. I really try to support, so if there's something, even if I'm lukewarm about, probably going to buy it. And but 2020 did have a lot of cool releases, and I kind of wanted to, I didn't go through and make an exhaustive top 10 list. And so if there are bands out there that I bought your record and I loved it, and I just spaced on what year it came out in or what month or whatever, don't be mad. This was kind of off the cuff, off the top of my head kind of list. So I'll throw one out there if you guys want to throw some titles in there too. The one that I caught my attention a lot was, it's a Milwaukee band called Big Laugh. They did a 7-inch called Manic Revision on 11 PM Records. That was pretty rad, and I don't want to blow up their spot, but I've heard that they signed to a much bigger label. But so excited to hear some more stuff from them.
They signed to Rev. I know Adam Lentz loves them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lance,
Okay.
What up, Lance? You listening?
Yeah. I
Best control bass player ever.
So yeah, Andy blew it up. So all right.
I just guessed. I'm just saying. I know that Adam Lentz likes them a lot. So
Then they're super good.
That's what turned me onto them. So, and they're rad. They rip hard.
You want to give a record, Andy? I know. The listener asked. Go ahead.
I gotta throw out, and it came out actually in 2019, but it was the last week of December. So I'm gonna shout out the Warriors Monomyth record. Tehachapi dudes. I love the record. It's heavy. It's the Warriors. It's not quite War as Hell, which I'm sure everyone wanted. They wanted them to be, sound like Knock Loose or whatever, which, Knock Loose is awesome, and they sound like if the Warriors did a War as Hell too, and so that's cool to me. But this record, Monomyth, is rad, and if dudes haven't checked it out, if you like heavy music, I think you should check it out. Those guys, there's tons of guest vocals on it, and production wise is awesome, dude. There's all kinds of stuff going on. So that was one of my tops of last year. I still listen to it. So
yeah, it's a super rad record.
It was when I found out that Will did this. By the way, hi Will, love you and miss you. It's a daunting task to try to figure out what, until you sit down and start looking at things, and then you're like, oh yeah, there's a lot of shit I liked. But I guess the first one I would throw out is Endless Noise by The Fight on Triple B Records. It's a really good, just gnarly hardcore punk record.
Yeah, he's pissed, man. He's pissed. Awesome.
So my next one, pretty sure this was 2020, is Fuming Mouth Beyond the Tomb.
Oh yeah, that's good.
That was just, I hadn't heard that band, and I checked that record out when I saw it. Somebody was like, oh, this is going up for pre-order. And I was like, oh, let me check what they sound like. I was like, oh man, this is not what I was expecting on Triple B, but it was really good. So I picked that up. So I played that a lot.
That's got the awesome artwork too.
Yeah, super awesome artwork.
Super rad. I'll go again. I'm gonna shout out Retaliate 4. That LP's awesome. That band's awesome. I'm sure you guys have heard it, but if you haven't, it's on Indecision. Super rad. The vinyl's got a it's got a silk screen on the back with some rad art. But cool lyrics. Zach's a super good lyricist and a frontman. Just his flow is awesome. It's got a lot of hip hop vibes to him. I love it, man. I don't know if you guys have heard it yet, but I highly recommend it.
Yep, I got that one. I think I've only spun it like once or twice. Haven't had a chance to really sit down and listen to it a bunch, but it's good. It's super good.
Yeah, the lyrics are great, man. Check out the lyrics. I'm a lyric guy, so that'll make or break a record for me. And that one's got the music, the lyrics, the cool art, the whole package for me.
Yeah, I'm, I try to listen. I mostly listen to hardcore when I spin the records in my car. I listen to just like pop stuff when I'm driving around. So like Prince and, it's
Taylor
just
Swift,
pop.
right?
Taylor Swift.
I heard the last episode.
Taylor Swift has two albums on my top list. So, but yeah, I just listen to pop stuff in my car. But it's, when I go home, it's like spinning hardcore records because I just always think it sounds better on vinyl.
Yeah, for sure. I feel you.
All right, Rich, let's get one.
Next one that I can think of right offhand is the Planet on a Chain. This won't get any fucking better demo. It's Dave Ackerman from Tear It Up and some dudes from the Bay Area doing the kind of hardcore you would expect from Dave Ackerman. Just really fast, rough and tumble hardcore punk.
Yeah, Sean sent me that. It was rad, dude.
Yeah, Rich sent it to me. I sent it to you. It was super rad. I hadn't heard of it, and Rich sent it over, and I was like, "Whoa, this is good."
And you write that one down and go back to it. I love the name too. Cool name.
Yeah, it is.
I got another one on here. Is Nothing, the Great Dismal. The super good record.
Yeah, it is.
It's funny. I know Nicky from Nothing, and he was used to be in Horror Show, and Horror Show is arguably one of my favorite hardcore bands of all time. Like I just love that band lyrically and musically, and when I first heard Nothing, I had no idea Nicky was in the band, and a buddy of mine was like, "Oh, check this out." I'm like, "Oh, this is good," and I found out Nicky was in it. It was it was just a stark contrast to, knowing him from like his old bands like Victory Strike and Horror Show. But this new record is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I back it. I didn't realize it was Victory Strike. I got that demo still, but we played with Horror Show once Diehard Youth did. They were awesome, but I definitely like Nothing. They're cool, man. Definitely jam them quite a bit when I'm just chilling out or driving at night. Kind of sets the tone.
Yeah, it's good chill music, I think.
All right, Andy, you got another one?
Another one I like is and it's kind of maybe not a long hardcore, but I Am the Avalanche put out the record Dive. I just love it, man. I love all the dudes in that band are super cool, and like when I hear the record, it just makes me want to hang out with my friends. I'm not sure if you guys have heard it or not. It's on the poppier side, but it's all hardcore dudes that. I mean, it's like I know you guys don't drink, but it's like hanging out with your buddies, having a beer, like in the backyard, being silly, like kind of just makes me want to be with friends. And I like that kind of music once in a while, like reminds me of like old H2O or Murphy's Law, where you play it and you're just like hanging out with your friends and you're just kind of like, hey dude, let's get a little rowdy and like have a good time, and that's kind of what that record makes me feel.
Is it dudes from the Movie Life? Am I wrong on that?
Yep.
Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vinny sings and Rhett plays drums and Mike, I forget his last name now. He does Spirit Houses is his like side deal. He plays guitar and I think that's it for Movie Life. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's half the Movie Life guys. But I said it's just cool, like hanging out music. Like kind of what hardcore is about. It's kind of being with your buddies and being goofballs.
The Movie Life, the This Time Next Year record is like, I don't know, that set like the tone for probably a 2-year period of my life. I love that record.
Yeah, it's so good, dude. And then when they got the Mazzola from Count Me Out singing on it, dude, like, yeah, that record rips.
All right, Rich, what do you got for us?
This will probably be the mellowest one that I'm going to list. My buddy Gus in Portland has a band called Moon Kisser, and they put out a 12-inch this last summer called Summer's Fleeting Majesty. Really, really good. Quicksand, kind of, that's really the biggest reference point I would throw out probably is just Quicksand. It's really good.
Yeah, I mean, like, not to get off subject, but when we're talking about Tehachapi, but like there's a group of us from Tehachapi who basically met through hardcore, all different aged kids, and 20 years ago we're still friends. We still hang out, and we still text each other every day. We do everyone's got a certain day of the week, and we do records. Like you post a record of and everyone checks it out. And my buddy Ryan, that I kind of do that little YouTube show with, he likes all kinds of cool music, and he posted that Moonkesser record, and it was super cool. He's always breaking me off when I'm, putting on there, some Judge or something, and then he comes with Moonkesser, and it's like, oh, I need to expand my horizons, so. But it was very cool. Yeah, I get the Quicksand. Yeah, I like that.
My next one is one that I put on repeat for a while. It's the new Hum record, Inlet, on Earth Analog Records. Super good. Just sort of came out of the blue. Like I had no idea Hum was still a band, and then just like, oh hey, there's a new album, and it rips. Super good.
Yeah, I need to check that one out. I know I've heard it, but I didn't give it the time it deserved. I think I just put it on in passing, like making dinner. Yeah, that did surprise me that they came out with a new record.
Yeah,
I'm kind of loop. So
yeah, I'm a big Hum fan. Yeah, I mean, I'm growing up in Illinois. I saw them quite a few times, but man, they were like, I don't know. When I was growing up, I didn't have exposure to a lot of cool music. It was just kind of stuff on the radio. And when I first saw Hum, I was like, all right, there's a lot of stuff out there that I have no idea, didn't know existed. It was it's just kind of an eye opener for me. And it's just a band that I've really latched onto. So it was always cool when, it was one of those bands that like, when I started into hardcore, I thought maybe, oh, hey, that's a band I like from the pre-hardcore days that I'm just sort of carrying an emotional attachment to. But, along the way, it's just like you start meeting more and more hardcore kids and like, oh, dude, Hum is so good. And you're like, all right. And then this new album came out and all the hardcore Hum fans were just like coming out of the woodwork. So I'm like, all right, I feel heard here. This is my people.
That's cool. Because it's definitely not a band like you guys probably know, whatever. In California for a while, it was like everybody liked, all of a sudden everybody was into the Smiths and like all the hardcore dudes, and then everyone's into the Faint. And it was like, what? So like, that was always weird to me that when all the hardcore kids would gravitate to a certain like non-hardcore band and like hype it up super hard. But I think with Hum, they're definitely just, if someone's saying they liked Hum, they genuinely like them. It's not a hype train.
Yeah.
All right, who's got another one?
I'll throw one out there. I got a Tuning. I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah.
Finding the Purpose. Super rad. Great lyrics. I got some like sci-fi references in there. Super rad dudes. Those guys also do that band Discourage, or some of them, which is a cool, more like youth crew band. But
that's on my list. The Discourage, Forlorn Hope is on my list.
Yeah, super
love that
rad.
record.
Talk to Matt all the time. That I think he plays drums in Discourage. He plays a different instrument in every band there is in California, but super cool dude. And I really like that. I like all the tuning stuff, but that new record's good. And they're going to put out a new record sometime this year. I think an EP maybe, but they're rad. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. And they're doing something that not a whole lot of people are doing right now. Like that kind of melodic hardcore it's not ubiquitous right now.
No, yeah, I like that. I like that I can turn on whatever Age of Apocalypse or Mind Force, and then 20 minutes later put on the new tuning, and it's like I like the ebb and the flow and the changing it up for me. I don't stick with one style, so it's great to have all these variety of bands right now.
Oh, for sure. I'm going to go into 2021 with the next thing I have, which is the Slant LP on Iron Lung Records. That shit's wild.
I've heard that one.
You said Slant, like SLANT?
Yeah, they're from Korea.
Oh, heck yeah. I got it right.
Oh, yeah, I did hear that. I heard, I think they have like a record, right?
Yeah. I think both of us pre-ordered it.
Yeah, I ordered that. You sent that to me, and I was like, whoa, that's really good. I always like hearing bands from like other countries. Just it's it just reminds you how much cool stuff is coming out from all over the world. Like there's a band out of France that I super dig called Bombardment,
Oh, nice name.
and it's they're super good. It's a female singer, and I was blown away by them. And they're French, so there's some really cool stuff all over coming out of.
Sure.
I'll go with another one. FOM Hollow Hope on Safe Inside.
Yep.
Super good record.
That's gotta be on everyone's list. That record rips. That was a great interview with her, by the way.
Yeah, Kat's super awesome.
A lot of cool things to say, and didn't shy away from anything. That's awesome. Props.
All right, who's got another one?
I'll go Change, the Change LP.
Oh yeah,
that's
I
good.
really like that, man. That's right up my alley. Uniform Choice, Youth of Today. I love Betrayed and Champion and all those bands that those guys did. Chris was one of the first cool dudes to me when I started doing Diehard Youth and sending the demo out and trading with people and just touching base over AOL, AIM, whatever it's called, and so I'll always have a soft spot. I know he didn't write that record, but I'll have a soft spot for anything he does. So
what was your instant messenger handle?
Oh, I think it was like X Andy Diehard X or Andy Diehard or something like that.
You didn't go the fun humorous route?
No, because I didn't. Yeah, no, I needed to have my hardcore name.
What was yours, Rich?
I had two different ones at different points. The first one I had was XDICMILES X, so X Dick Miles, and then later I changed it to X. It's Always Darkest X.
Nice.
Yeah, I had a
metal face.
I had a Iron Chef Veggie, and Britney speared me.
Oh boy.
No, I definitely went top secret hardcore nickname.
So I have one, this band called The Wrong War rather. They're from Chicago. Just a bunch of old dudes. They put out an LP digitally, which will be on vinyl on oh fuck. This is horrible. What label is it coming out on? It's a label out of Rhode Island. But anyways, Fixed Against Forever is the name of the LP. Really good, kind of sounds like Articles of Faith, like kind of melodic, but still scrappy hardcore.
Nice.
Who's in that band?
My friend Matt Weeks, he was in I don't know if do you remember a band called Calvary from Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in that. He's from Michigan, so I know him from back when we both lived in Michigan. He was in a band called Current, and he was also in Ottawa, in a band also called Nama, which is just Amen backwards. But yeah, and then a bunch of dudes that I don't know, but apparently were kind of part of the somehow loosely affiliated with the kind of Bhopal Stiffs, Peg Boy sort of scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got another one. The Drain California Curse record on Rev.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I'd never heard that band before, and then when that record came out, I was like, "Oh man, this is super good. I like this a lot."
Yeah, that record rips, man. And I've seen their videos. They're wild.
That's Santa Cruz, right?
Yeah, I think they're from Santa Cruz. Yeah, but they hang with all the Bay Tsunami Gulch kind of crew dudes. Yeah, their shows look like they'd be a lot of fun.
Santa Cruz is like my favorite place on earth. It's like the most chill place.
Yeah, it's awesome up there.
It's really expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, you have another one, Andy?
Yeah, man. I'll go with with Last Gasp. I'm not sure if they redid their demo. I think it came out on War. Andrew from Strife's label. Super cool, like kind of fast. Reminds me of kind of AFI, Open Your Eyes, Shut Your Mouth era of AFI. Just fast, kind of pissed, and the lyrics are clever. If you haven't heard it, check it out. I think they're from Cleveland. So just cool. I don't know, just randomly. I think it's on War. They put out a tape, and they just put out a split too on Dropping Bombs, I think it's called. Well, all the tracks are cool. Super cool band. I just like them. They're kind of fast and pissed and right up my alley.
Oh, real quickly. So just going back to Wrong War real quickly, the label that it's coming out on is Atomic Action Records.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, they're legit. They put out that. What was the Chain Reaction?
Yeah, they helped put that out. You're right,
Yeah,
and they
that
put out
record's
a
rad.
Pummel 7-inch.
Oh,
yeah,
that's good
they
too,
put
yeah.
out a lot of really good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite thing was there was a band from Boston in the early '90s, Kingpin, and they reissued a EP they did that never got officially released. They put it out, and it's a really, really, really good record.
Yeah, it's a cool label.
Yeah, and you were mentioning was it Last Gasp having that AFI that shut your mouth kind of vibe. As I remember when I first saw AFI play, they played the Fireside in Chicago, and they can't remember if it was the time that they played with Super Sleuth or the time they played with Tuesday, who was a Chicago band that they were in a band called Slapstick. It was like a ska punk band where they had members go on to do, they were in Less Than Jake. They were in the Lawrence Arms, all kinds of bands spawned from that band. But it was such an oddball show, with this like pop emo band Tuesday playing with AFI when Davey still had bleach blonde hair.
Yeah, that was back in the day.
I'm gonna throw one final one out there. The Bloodstains demo 2020,
that's cool.
band from Orange County. If you like old Orange County hardcore, so by old I mean Adolescence, TSOL, that kind of stuff. Really good, melodic, but still again rough hardcore.
Yeah, I dig that demo. I need to find out who's in the band. Is it old dudes or just new guys doing?
I think they did a like a live stream that I didn't watch, but from what I could tell from the like screenshots I saw, they look like we could probably be their parents.
Nice.
Like they're
right
early
on,
20s, that kind of thing. So yeah,
that's cool. They're doing it. They're doing it good. They're doing it good though. They're doing it well.
Definitely.
I'm going to throw out another one. Is Power Alone, Rather Be Alone on Indecision.
Oh yeah,
that one.
That's good.
Yeah,
that was a one is I knew Rats in the Walls, and when I heard this record I was like, oh man, this is super good. So that got a lot of spins early in the shutdown.
Yeah, that record's awesome. I'm glad that they're doing a new band. All those guys and girls, all cool people. So, and the band's awesome. So, I'll go one more. I'll go Struck Nerve, Rattle the Cage, I think it's called. They put out on Youngblood, which in the record's just like, I heard people compare it to Desperate Measures. I don't really get that. I really liked Desperate Measures back in the day, but it's just, traditional hardcore to me, and it's awesome. The artwork's awesome. The record's awesome. Youngblood's awesome.
Yep.
I always wanted to do a record with either Youngblood or Underestimated. Back in the day with Diehard Youth, that was like my neither one of it ever happened, but like Chicago tie-in is Underestimated put out.
Yeah, we both know Anton.
A bunch of records, No Justice, the All Systems Go comp. Until the Day, Reinforced, like all these bands, Kill Your Idols did a few records with them. Like, man, I sweated that record label and Youngblood so hard. So I'm psyched that Youngblood's putting out.
Didn't Anton do the first Walls of Jericho record too?
Yes, he did. He did. He was buddies with the Earth Mover people. So, and actually, he was going to do a blood pact 7-inch, but it never happened because I guess they broke up before they got around to recording it. But
didn't Blood Plaque do a record with like Varsity? Is that a split?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
On
Is Blood Plaque from
Andy
Chicago?
Debs' label. No, they were from Detroit, Ann Arbor,
Okay.
that general area.
I actually, when, after the first like wave of the shutdown, when things started to reopen slowly and, carefully, and then for the second shutdown, I was at a record store and I am a big fan of 10-inch records. Don't know why I it's my favorite format because it's such an oddball size, but the record store has like a 10-inch, like a box of 10 inches. And I don't know, it's not that many. And I'm just flipping through and they had the Earth Mover 10-inch. I was like, well, I got to buy the Earth Mover 10-inch, right? Can't just leave that
Good
sitting there.
record, yeah.
So I was excited about that.
Yeah, it's weird to think about how much Anton did a lot of shit in a really short period of time, and then it just he just got, I guess he must have just got bored with it, or it became too much of a financial drain. I think it's a little of column A and a little column B, to be honest, but yeah. He did a lot
Did
of
he used to do the Chicago Fest? Was he the
Yep.
one that booked that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and this dude, Dave Song, did it together.
Yeah. There were some rad bands that played that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never see, there's always an Anton spotting here and there, but I haven't seen him in years.
He came and visited me a year or two. Well, yeah, I guess it would have been 2 years ago now because pandemic. But him and I still, when I come to Chicago, I see him. But I have to make a point of seeing him. It's not like you're going to run into him in the wild.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in years. But it's funny. Another guy I know was like, "Oh yeah, Anton's my landlord." Like, all right, that's weird. That's off the wall.
Yeah. Yep.
So I've got two related records. My last two are Taylor Swift Folklore and Taylor Swift Evermore. And I don't care what anybody says; they're awesome records.
Put out 2 in 1 year. That's
She put out 2 in 6 month stretch.
Dang, that's a lot of writing for her.
Yeah, well, they're like 20 some songs a piece. So she had like a shit ton of songs that she wrote during the COVID lockdown.
That's a lot of boyfriends. Isn't each song about a guy or something? I mean, I don't really know Taylor Swift. I'm not dogging her. I'm a sucker for a catchy song. I just gotta say, I don't care what it is. If it's a catchy, I'm probably gonna like it. So
Yeah, I've gotten into stupid, like stuck in the loop of watching TikTok dance videos. And I'm intrigued because I can't dance to save my life, and I'm just watching these people doing like synchronized dances just spontaneously in public, and I'm just like, I can't get like 5 friends to do the same thing, period. And they're getting 5 people to do a choreographed dance for a 30-second TikTok video. I was like, man, what am I doing wrong?
yeah, my friends don't like me enough to do that. That's for sure.
Do either one of you guys like twee pop at all?
I don't even know what
What is
that
it?
is.
Yeah.
Well, just like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like bands like Velocity Girl, Tiger Trap, I don't know, like bands on K Records from the 90s. Anyways, the reason I'm bringing that up, actually, I just had one that came to mind. There's a band called Sullen Eyes, Sullen Eyes. They're from Bangor, Maine, and they're really, really good too. Just kind of jangly pop with really, really sweet woman vocals, So yeah.
I'll have to check that out. I do not know that band.
Yeah. I'm not familiar either.
I heard it on the Demo Listen podcast.
So Andy, back to you is
All right.
how do you find the motivation to keep checking out new bands and keep going to shows when you've got a whole family and you've got a career and stuff like that? what's that motivation just to keep doing, that stuff rather than, there's a lot of people that are our age sort of just, I only listen to things I listened to up until I was 29. And then that's all I'm listening to. And I'm not going to shows anymore.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, there was definitely a phase of probably when we're with or without you kind of fizzled out. We stopped playing because everyone had jobs and I was starting to have kids and also promoting at work. So I was kind of a couple years of just listening to what I listened to. So like when my kids were little kids, they were here in striking distance for like 3 years in a row, In Control, Carry On. That's all they heard. Terror Lows to the Lows on the trampoline fighting each other. But as my kids got older, my oldest kid is about 16 now, and probably like 7 years ago, he just started liking Bane, and it was like, oh, cool, dude, like. And then Bane put out a new record, and then that really triggered some stuff. And I was still coaching soccer. My dad coached soccer here, and I was coaching soccer, helping him. And it's kind of ran into some kids that are, oh, you were in a band? Like, I like this band. And it's kind of like new. Like, what is it? Like, oh, it's hardcore. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, so I started diving back into current hardcore bands. So, but there's a couple years where, like, I missed, like, Mindset. Like, I think that band's dope, man. Like, super cool. Never got to see him, and bands like Rotting Out was one of the ones. And I was friends with Joey and Ray, who kind of ran 6131 Records. And so I saw, oh, those guys are doing these bands, and they put out that Rotting Out. And then I think Trapped Under Ice put out a record that I heard. And so that really got me sucked back into checking out bands. And then as my kid got older, it was just like he basically was kind of the motivation. Like I was trying to find bands he would like, so we'd listen to music together. And now he likes totally different stuff than me. But I just, my wife works and my kids go to school, or they did. So I'd be home. My schedule's a fireman. I work 2 days on, 2 days off. So from 8 o'clock till 3 o'clock, I'm by myself, and I would just listen to music all day on Spotify, random radio stations, and I just hear bands, and oh, I'm going to like that band. And I also, my buddy owned a CrossFit gym, and I kind of coached there. So I'd always want to put on music for working out. So I'd always like make these little playlists of bands that, and at first it was all the old bands I liked. And then as it went on, I'd add new bands in there. And the guy that owned the gym was my good friend that got me into hardcore. So he'd be like, oh, who's this, man? And we kind of both got back into it together a little bit. And of course I went head over heels, and he's got his own thing, whichever. But, so that's how I'm able to be motivated. My youngest son, he just got into hardcore probably a couple years ago. He went to a Warriors Rotting Out show, and he got to meet Walter from Rotting Out. And it was like him, like meeting Mickey Mouse, dude. It was like, he was so pumped after he saw him playing. I don't know if you guys know what Walter looks like. He's a massive human being. And kind of went up after the show. And I've known Walter since he was smaller than that, and off and on. And so I was able to introduce my kid to him, and he was super cool, and, chatted my son up. And from then on, Rotting Out's his favorite band. He wants every Rotting Out shirt. He wants every record. I just got him into Gorilla Biscuits. I try to buy the kids records anytime we go to a record store. And that really is the motivation to keep it going, of just like, for me, especially doing the band, I like doing the bands and meeting new people. And like I said, I'm not afraid to hit up anybody on social media and just be like, yo, your band's dope. Like, I'm a big fan of, like, you do a podcast and I think it's cool, I'm gonna let you know. I'm not trying to like kiss your ass and try to get on your podcast, or, tell you your band's good so I can get on your thanks list. If I think your band's good, I'm just going to tell you because I think it's cool, and I appreciate what you do. I know how hard it is to do all that stuff, to run a label. I did a little label with some buddies back in the day, and it's a pain in the ass, dude. So Sean, mad respect for that. Both of you guys, mad respect for doing this podcast. I know it takes time away from your family, and you guys love doing it, and that's why you do it. So that's the motivation and all that, finding, dudes and bands that are doing cool things. And when I say dudes, I mean, I'm from California, so dudes means guys, girls, everybody.
people.
Dudes is all encompassing for me. So, but anybody that's doing a band and doing stuff, I'll tell them I appreciate it. And usually after I chat someone up, they're telling me about, oh, check this out too. So it just keeps the never-ending cycle of finding new bands and new cool people in hardcore going. So
it's always cool when you get like that new generation and they dig it. I've told the story I think a couple times on this show. My daughter is 6, and I try to shield her from it just because it's it's loud, aggressive music, and maybe she'll like it one day, but she digs it. She's awesome, she does these like hardcore dances, and she invents that are really, it's funny. They're just old New York style hardcore dances. I'm like, like but she's super into Sick of It All, and
as it should be.
She was like, when she turned 6, she's like, I want a Sick of It All themed birthday party. And
so do I. That's a great idea.
and there's when she turned 6, it was COVID, so there really was no birthday parties. But I was able to, through the help of some people, able to get in touch with Sick of It All, and everybody in the band made her like a happy birthday message. And she was, I edited them together, and with a little bit of the step down video as an intro, put it on the iPad. And then when she got up in the morning, she played her the video, and I like you said, it was like meeting Mickey Mouse. Like her eyes lit up, and she was so excited. She's like, Sick of It All knows my name. So it was it was blast, man.
That's super ill that they would do that. I mean, like, Sick of It All is a huge, one of the biggest bands ever of hardcore. The longevity, the good records they put out, that for them to take time to do that is what hardcore is about, dude. That's rad that they do that for your daughter.
Yeah, it was. I was so excited. It's funny when I posted it on Instagram, and Armand responds. I was like, does anybody know Sick of It All? And it's kind of said what I wanted, and he just responded. Was like, I think we can help you out. And I was like, oh shit.
It's wild, man. That's super cool.
Yeah. So it's cool to hear, your kids getting into it. What of the older bands do your kids dig, and which ones don't they dig? I'm always curious to see what like kids think of like stuff that we liked when we were younger.
So my younger son, he's oh man, he'll listen to his musical taste. Actually, what's crazy? The other day, Dad, like, check it out. This is the band I like, and it was Misfits. And I'm like, whoa, I never even showed you the Misfits. And he randomly found it. So I'm like, cool, dude. Like, he got into something kind of on his own. I think it was more because it was an older Misfits record, like, had a song about, like, Freddy Krueger or something. It was, like, a terrible song. But, like, it was like, that's cool, dude. And I was like, well, check this one out, and I played him some of the old stuff, like Skulls, and I'm like, this is, like, my favorite Misfits song. And he's like, oh, yeah, cool. Like, it. So he's more into the older stuff. Like, he'll listen to like I said, he likes Gorilla Biscuits. He bought that record with whatever one of the times we went. He likes some Youth of Today. I think he likes the crazier, like the Bad Brains, like the crazier, like the wilder, like vocalist, because he's a wild guy. Like, he just wants to be crazy. And then my older kid is definitely, Brody's way more into like heavy stuff. Like, he likes Trapped Under Ice, Throwdown. I'm trying to think. He definitely likes Bane a lot. He doesn't really do the deep dive, although he started playing guitar right before COVID hit, and Matt, that plays guitar in Ill Communication, was giving him lessons. And he picked it up. I'm terrible at all instruments, at being a musician, like everything, singing, playing music. And like one day he walked in the room and he's like, yo, check it out. And he like played the bass line on his bass from like, For Those Who Fear Tomorrow, and I'm like, what, dude? Like, I almost moshed him, like, I told him, hey, learn how to play a song, I'll leave you $10. So he learned how to play Madball, Hold It Down. Like, I'm like, oh, cool. So like, he definitely, like has something there. But then with COVID, of course, my buddy Matt can't do lessons right now, and all these kids kind of lose their motivation just at everything. So he hasn't been playing the guitar as much, but which is a bummer because he was getting good. But so he likes a little bit on the heavier vibes, dude. Like I said, Madball, He likes Turnstile a lot, but he doesn't do the deep dive to the old stuff. Like I think he likes the music more, where my younger son is like me and is more caught up in the vocals just being like wild and crazy and whatnot. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
I have another question. It's kind of random here, but you've our own private conversations, you've alluded to or talked about a little bit that you had a record collection that got stolen, right?
yeah. So we moved into the house we're in now it's probably 5 or 6 years ago, and back then I had a van. I just wanted to whatever, I don't know. I bought a van that's like, it was a big old van. We're always going places with our friends, and they got kids and stuff, but like we'll go and so I bought a van, dude, like not to tour or nothing like that, again, like we had them back in the day, but so I had this van and we loaded up the last load from the house, and in there was some records and some shirts. Me and Donnie and our other buddy, Donnie Phillips from the Warriors, did this clothing line called Bust Streetwear back in the day. And it was super fun. We made all these shirts, and so I had this whole tub of Bust Streetwear shirts in there that I wanted to save, because it was like one of each shirt we ever did, and then some records. And I left them in the back of the van, and one of the front doors must have been open, and they went in through the front door and went to the back and stole everything in there out of there, which was just a box of records, some 12 inches and some 7 inches, and some Bust Streetwear. Probably got home and looked at it and threw it in the trash. But yeah, so I lost a bunch of stuff that I'll never even try to get back. I don't think it'll be too much of a hassle.
Oh man, that's terrible. I remember when I first moved back from Philadelphia to Chicago, I was living in a house, and we had no idea that anytime we got a heavy rain, that the basement would flood.
Oh no.
So like I had all my records down in the basement, and we were organizing still upstairs, and record collection ruined.
Oh.
It's always a bummer.
I'd rather have them stolen than I want to have to look at them ruined.
And what's terrible is you're at that moment when you're sitting there thinking like, well, do I keep the records and just throw the sleeves and the artwork away? And you're like, that label took on sewage water, and you're like, and it was tough to throw them away, man.
So check this out. One year, my wife, I got all these stupid things I always tell my wife, and I always tell her I want to have a pig and a little monkey that rides on top of the pig for my house just to ride around. And so one year she shows up at a soccer game, we're coaching, and she's like, check it out. And she's like, it was a pig. Well, she thought it was going to be a mini pig, but it turned into a big pig, like not full grown pig, but like 95 pounds. And during the winter, it snows here. And so I put it on a doggy door, and so it could go in the garage. And then the stupid pig went in there and ate a bunch of my record. It didn't. No, it did eat some of the records. So the record label we did was called For the Core Records, and we put out a In Control 7-inch and some other stuff, and it ate a Blue Monday. That was a big one. That band was awesome. Blue Monday was one of the ones, and it ate some of the record covers, and a couple of the records got wrecked from the pig eating them. So, yeah,
that's why
pigs will eat anything.
Did you get that idea from the YouTube video? Baby monkey, baby monkey.
I don't know. I haven't seen that.
Big baby monkey.
Just always sounded cool, dude. Can you imagine that if you had a monkey riding around and a pig in your backyard? Pretty
Look
rad.
up the YouTube video. You won't be disappointed.
I won't.
That's wild. Like I would love to have a monkey, but then I'm just thinking it's like probably torment my dog and
Oh yeah,
poop all over the place.
I'd probably fight my kids, and my kids would get in a fight with it, dude.
Just imagine your kids just be like, Dad, the monkey stole my food again, stole my records.
Yeah, yeah, ate my homework. Well, when Rich brought up Purpose, that's how I was like, dang it, dude, that's one of the records. That white record with the
LP
Over My Shoulder song, dude. Oh, that Over My Shoulder song, I still remember it, dude. I don't know if that's what the song was called, but if you heard that record, you know what I'm talking about. Those dudes were cool. They came out and with Varsity and stayed with me.
Good band.
The Purpose dudes. Yeah, they were really cool.
I think that would have been the tour that Gene from Desperate Measures and No Justice drummed for Varsity, right?
Yeah. That's how I met Gene, and I met him No Justice, and then met him from obviously Desperate. We did a bunch of shows with Desperate Measures. I loved all those dudes. Stigma, all those guys were super awesome. Yeah, those guys were cool, man. And the Varsity guys, and then I really liked The Break was a cool band too. I think it's the band they Purpose did after, right?
Yeah, the singer of Purpose was in that band. I don't remember if anyone else was.
Yeah, that first record was cool.
Yeah.
Well, I have one more question for you. I don't know if you have anything else, Rich, but is once COVID is over, what's the first thing you're going to do?
I don't know, man. I mean, we had a trip planned. We've been saving money to take my kids to Europe to go to some soccer games because I'm a soccer nerd, Liverpool fan. Have been for like 25 years. I'd like to do that, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So I don't know, man. I just want to hang out with my friends. My life's a little bit different than everyone else's because I do work at a fire department. So when I go to work, I'm with other people for 48 hours a day, and a couple of the dudes I work with are like some of my best friends, which is a pretty unique thing. So I've been lucky to be able to be around my friends a lot already, just because I have to be at work. So I know I have other friends that have not seen people for a long time. So but I think I just want to hang out with people. Let's have some tacos and hang out, and go to a show. I would love to go to a show and see, go to LA and some big fest or something and have people come from all over, and my friends from San Diego and whatever, just see a show would be awesome. That'd probably be the best thing. My kids were getting into shows right before COVID hit. We had some shows planned to go to and they got canceled, and I think I'd like to do that. Just go to see some live music and hang out with friends. Pretty simple, I guess. What are you guys going to do?
Probably similar.
Yeah, I'm, there was a lull of me going to shows, and then, 2018, 2019, I really tried to turn that around and start going to more shows. And then I'm like, you know what, 2020 is going to be the year. I'm just going to go to shows all the time. My daughter's old enough to, understand them. And if I go somewhere, she's cool with it.
Right.
And she knows I'm coming home and it's not a thing, but, and then this all shut down. So it's just like, I haven't really hung out with any friends in person. So it's like hug my friends, go to a show, eat at a restaurant.
Yeah. That stuff would be awesome.
Yeah. It's I think like we ate at a restaurant once in the past year. So it's wild. We don't go out all the time, but it's nice to just sit down at a restaurant sometimes. I'm vegetarian, and I live in Chicago, but I live in a very Polish area of Chicago. There's not a lot of vegetarian friendly things like right by my house. There's plenty of places within like a 5-mile radius, but with Chicago traffic, that's like a half an hour or more. And, so it's like, yeah, I can go pick things up. But by the time I bring it home, it's cold. It's like, and you can't really get it like a Postmates or Uber Eats or anything because it's it's out of their delivery range. And so you're like, man, I just want to go to like some of my favorite restaurants. And it's in summer and stuff, you can go eat and just bring it to like a park or something nearby. But we just got through Arctic.
Snow.
You know what? It sucks. So we had this awful stretch of snow here in Chicago, and I'm like, all right, man, it finally started melting slowly. I'm like, and we had a couple of days where it was like in the 60s, and I was like, all right, finally done with snow. And then yesterday we got hit with snow.
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
it snowed here too. Last 3 days.
Yeah, but what the hell?
Not anything compared to you, but so I'm not complaining too bad, but.
And it was wild because I went to shovel. We have like an elderly folks on our block that my wife does their like grocery shopping, and we both go shovel everything out. So I'm over there shoveling. I'm like, it was all slush, like Slurpee, and I was like, oh, okay, this is not bad. I get to my house and it is like sheet ice. I'm like,
Oh,
how is like 8 houses down, different temperature, but like my house, I'm out there scraping, trying to break the ice up so nobody bites it.
yeah, I can't even imagine. We get a little bit of ice, and that's a pain in the neck. You guys are dealing with way more.
Do you have anything else, Rich?
No, nothing I can think of, actually.
Well, Andy, thank you so much for being on the show. Hope you had fun.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks
It's
for
awesome to
coming
nerd out and talk to other dudes that are as old or maybe even older than me. So that's cool.
on.
Anything you want to plug?
Yeah, that record, man, the 12-inch that Sean put out in another city, we're super psyched that that worked out. Mad props to Sean for doing that label, and the donating to for the children is the charity we chose, which is out of LA. Those guys do a couple shows, and they've been doing a lot of live stream stuff lately. But just a super cool organization that helps out kids, and so that's why we chose it. And that's really what put us over the top to want to do that record with you, man. Is that whole idea of it was kind of what this band's about. Is we want to do records with people that we know and love, and or that we just met that are doing awesome things and that we'll grow to love. And so we appreciate everything you've done. I mean, you've been above and beyond. I remember that weekend finding out the songs won't fit on a 7-inch, trying to figure out what's going on, and you were so cool about just like, hey, let's do this and this and this, and it was like a snowball of awesomeness for us. We, me and the guys were texting each other, and it's just like, what? Oh yeah, of course, that sounds awesome. So we're super psyched. We hope people order that. There's bundles on the website with the shirts and the hats and the tapes and the silk screens, and I know you're putting in a lot of work doing all that, man, so we fully appreciate it. And I mean, we can't ever, I don't know, express how cool it is that this is happening. This is the first 12-inch I've ever done, so I'm super pumped to be doing it with you, man. So appreciate it, and I love the podcast. You guys are doing something cool, and I appreciate it. So I know there's probably a lot of other people that feel the same way if I feel that way. So keep it up, and thanks for having me.
Awesome. We're going to play a track off the I'm sorry, go ahead, Rich.
Oh no, I was just saying awesome.
We're going to play a track off the record. If you are listening on iTunes, that might just not play the song. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but on the other podcast platforms, we will be playing a track. If not, you can check out the Bandcamp, or you can check out anothercityrecords.com. And thank you guys for checking out this show. And thanks, Andy.
Dear sons, you shall be judged.